Welcome to Inside Georgia Real Estate. I'm Deborah Morton, your host. This is our all-digital format, and I'm so glad to welcome you here. This weekly talk show program is all about real estate inside Georgia. So today, we're going to cover pricing. One of the biggest concerns we're having right now is pricing. The affordability conversation is real nationally. Now, I'm not going to speak to national issues right now. I'm going to speak specifically to what's happening in metropolitan Atlanta area. And we are seeing affordability being the concern that is stopping buyers from moving forward. It's also stopping homeowners from making a change when they want to sell their home and buy a new one because they're looking at the numbers and they just doesn't make sense to them. As they tell me, the math doesn't math. So we're going to break that down today and talk about what we're seeing in numbers and the things that are impacting affordability and the costs of buying and selling. We get nitty gritty. If you have any questions about this along the way, reach out to us directly. We have some great worksheets, not only buyer guides and seller guides, but actual worksheets to help you calculate the math, the cost of selling and the cost of buying. Now, while I'm not a licensed mortgage originator, I don't write loans, I don't work for a mortgage company, I can connect you to really great mortgage professionals locally here in Atlanta and nationally as well. The mortgage piece of the buying and selling process, really the buying process, the mortgage piece is its own entity. And just to clarify, our licenses are different. There is no shared information of personal information between your mortgage lender and your realtor. But we do work together to make sure that you achieve success with your real estate transaction. We want to make sure when we find you the perfect home that you can afford it, it's within your budget, and that you're not what people call house poor. We want to make sure that you can afford your purchase and still have a life. You have kids that play sports, you want to take travel, vacation, you cannot stop funding your retirement plans as well. Your retirement fund matters, and it can be in addition to your house. So today, we're going to break down the numbers for you. Thanks for joining us, and be sure to contact us at InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com to send us your questions. All right, we're back. We're talking about the costs of buying a home. So we're going to break down some of the vocabulary and some of the pieces you're going to need to know when you're buying a home. Most people, they know that they have to talk to a mortgage lender, but I want to talk about the language of that. A home mortgage, if you're financing a home, there's some pieces that you need to be aware of. Your payment is not just your principal, the principal amount that you're borrowing, but it's the interest paid. So in a mortgage loan, you're going to be talking about your principal, your interest, your taxes, and your insurance. The acronym for that is PITI. So you know, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And all of those things are factored into your monthly payment. So when you say, I want to borrow $500,000, how that your monthly payment is calculated, all of those things are a factor. So if you're in, say, Fulton County versus Cherokee County, the taxes are going to be different. Are you in the city or are you in an unincorporated area? That's why a mortgage lender cannot give you your actual monthly numbers until you have found a property, executed a contract, and then they know what they're working with. So let's just say you found 123 Main Street, you love it, you've written an offer, the seller has accepted it. Now the mortgage lender is going to go in and actually calculate what your payment is going to be. It is the principal, that's the breakdown of the money you borrowed. It is the interest on that, and this is where your mortgage interest rate matters because it's going to influence how much interest you're paying on a monthly basis. But the two things that are often not talked about are taxes and insurance. Taxes, as we know here in Atlanta, it's been pretty painful for people because the tax assessments have finally caught up. Little pause here to explain what I'm talking about. Taxes are based on, your property taxes are based on your home value. Home values escalated very rapidly over the last 5 years. And what happened is the county assessors did not keep up with doing assessments. So let's say they assessed your home at $600,000 in 2019, but because COVID happened, they didn't come back out and update the assessments for 3 years, or 4 years. So now it's 2023, and your home, which was once assessed at $300,000, is now assessed at $625,000. It feels painful, not just for the homeowner, but this escalating of taxes, the escalation. It's not even what the tax millage rate is. That's the percentage of value that they're taxing you on. It's the actual home values went up. And because it was a rapid appreciation in homes value, the cost of homes went up so fast. To put that in perspective, over the last 50 years, the average home appreciation across the country is 4 to 5%. That is a standard, just year over year, that is the number. It was only during 2008 and back in the 70s where there were 2 or 3 years where home values actually dipped down. But overall, if you wanted to average it out, 4 to 5% home appreciation was predictable. In 2022 and 2023, we had areas around the metro area, Atlanta market, that appreciated at a rate of 18 to 20%, and in some cases even higher. 1 year value change of 20% has wrecked the affordability. So that's why the taxes have changed so radically and have to be factored in when you're assessing what you're going to pay for a house, because it does factor into your monthly payment. Now, if you're a cash buyer, you pay your property taxes once a year. You have to write a check to the county. So this would not apply to a cash buyer, but we're talking about all the breakdown of the costs when you're using a traditional mortgage. And this applies whether it's FHA, conventional, VA. Homeowner property taxes are real. You'll have to pay them. They're in your monthly payment. The fourth piece of this is your homeowner's insurance. And this is the sneaky problem we have running behind the scenes right now. Homeowners insurance in Georgia has rapidly increased. I would say nearing the point of problematic, and it's a digital format, so I'm going to say we're at a point where something has to give. Homeowners insurance companies, they have gotten beat up. State Farm, Allstate, Prudential, all of the homeowners insurance companies have paid out. We've had natural disasters, storms, fires in California, earthquakes. Homeowners insurance, I'm told, only factors in what happens in Georgia, gets distributed, the cost of that gets distributed across all of the people who have homeowners insurance in Georgia. We are not supposed to be penalized for California's fires or Florida's hurricanes. However, we do have a coastline in Georgia, and we've had some bad storms in 2025, and we are seeing increasing homeowners insurance premiums. Additionally, roofs are an issue. Homeowners policies, you have to have full replacement value on your roof to carry a homeowner's policy, and with older roofs, we're seeing increasing problems. I diverted to talk about that real quickly because it does matter. If a buyer can't get homeowners insurance on a home, they can't get a mortgage on that home. That impacts the whole selling process. If a homeowner has to pay homeowners insurance on 123 Main Street at a rate that is unaffordable, they can't get a mortgage and they can't buy that home. So we're now not just talking about the price of the house or the mortgage rates, but property taxes and homeowners insurance are significantly impacting affordability. And that monthly payment has to calculate into your debt to income ratio, and the proportion of your monthly income can't exceed a certain percentage depending on the type of loan you have. So there are a lot of factors, and why having a trusted professional who can break all this information down to you. At the end of the day, most buyers don't care about anything except what is my monthly payment and can I get the house that I want. You need a trusted advisor behind you who's going to break all this down and help you figure out what's best for your situation. Great lenders, great agents. Here at the agency, all of our agents are trained to have these conversations to make sure that they are properly advising their client. Now, HOAs. Everybody's fun facts. Talking about HOA, it's the most volatile. I get the most calls into the show when we talk about homeowners association. We're talking about the cost of buying a home right now, and in today's show, I want to mention how HOA fees, escalating HOA fees, are the other intangible that are impacting affordability. Homeowners associations have the burden of carrying insurance. If you're in a condo building, townhomes, community where there is insurance policy required on the property, that's also where property insurance costs have risen, and that cost has to be passed on to the homeowners. The Association of Homeowners shares in the cost of all the expenses for the community. So if your community has a master policy, those costs have risen. Additionally, we now have in Georgia new legislation that was recently passed. It will go into effect in 2027, where homeowner association management, they have to register with the Secretary of State's office. Now, it's not a ridiculously high fee to register. I believe it's going to be right now in the $150 range, but there's also going to be a process where the treasurer of the homeowners association will have to file reports. For transparency reason, the community is going to have to be registered with the state and file their financial reports and their minutes from their meetings. What this does helps in one way. There will be transparency available, and there'll be some level of regulation over what out of control HOAs were doing. But what this also does is add even more costs to a community. So we have no reason to expect your HOA fees are ever going to go down. We only see them increase. And we're seeing those costs being passed on to homeowners with higher initiation fees upon joining the community. We're seeing higher monthly fees, and we're seeing add-on fees. So assessments are an important part of, if you join a community, the community has costs. And I'll give you a very personal example. My neighborhood is older. It's a 30-year-old neighborhood, and the pool needed to be resurfaced. So what happened is we get the quotes, it costs money. The regular annual budget for the community did not have the extra funds available. So our board decided to share the cost among all the homeowners. There's 50 homeowners, and that $10,000 bill is now divided among the 50 homeowners. In my community, they decided to break it down into several different assessments. But as a homeowner, I'm required to participate in that cost. So you have your monthly fees, you have transfer initiation fees, you have one-time assessments. All of these factors, somebody's got to pay. So the affordability issue, to talk about just the price of houses is short-sighted. It's not just the cost of the house. It's the cost of everything. And this is what we see in an economy where inflation is real. It's every facet. So to recap, the terms I want you to remember: you're getting a mortgage, your principal, your interest, your taxes, your insurance, and then we're going to add HOA costs. Those are the 5 things you need to be conscious of if you're going to be buying a home. Send us a message InsideGeorgiaRealEstate.com. We will send you a free, no obligation, you don't have to do anything except send us a message, and we will send you our valuable vocabulary sheet. It's an easy to download one sheet that explains everything we're talking about today, and it can be your guide. So when you're interviewing an agent or speaking to a mortgage lender, you have the vocabulary and you will understand better what they're talking about. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Deborah Morton with Inside Georgia Real Estate, and I'm here to answer all your questions about the Georgia real estate market and all things real estate related. Send your messages online. Follow us on social, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can catch all our previous episodes, and we look forward to seeing you next time.